Welcome to Tanzania. A land of wild nature, amazing landscapes, and unforgettable adventures. Here you can meet majestic lions in the savanna, watch graceful giraffes, hear the roar of hippos on the shores of Lake Victoria, and see the pink Lake Natron, where thousands of flamingos nest. Tanzania is a place where time slows down and nature tells its stories. Do you want to conquer the legendary Kilimanjaro or go on safari in the heart of Africa? Or maybe plunge into the warm waters of Zanzibar and get acquainted with the rich culture of the local peoples? Are you ready to embark on this unforgettable journey? Then let us go. Tanzania, the largest country in Eastern Africa, stretches over an impressive 945 square kilometers. It is home to Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's tallest mountain at 895 meters, popularly known as the cradle of humanity. In the Olduvai Gorge, the oldest in Tanzania, fossils dating back more than 2 million years have been discovered, providing invaluable information about the early history of mankind. A country can have a rich cultural mosaic pattern, taking into account more than 120 ethnic groups united by Swahili, the national language. Among its iconic communities is the Maasai people, known for their vibrant pastoral traditions and culture. Tanzania's commitment to nature conservation is astounding. Almost 40% of its territory is protected by national parks, reserves, and protected areas. This dedication helps to preserve wildlife, the red colobus and the Pemba flying fox, which are found only in this direction. Its agricultural heritage is also innovative, as Tanzania ranks among the largest producers of coffee and tea in various varieties. Tanzania gained independence from British colonial rule in 1961, marking the beginning of a new era in its history. The best places in Tanzania: Serengeti National Park, an endless sea of golden meadows stretching across northern Tanzania, covering almost 15 kilometers of area. The name Serengeti comes from the Maasai word Singit, which means endless conditions. This ecosystem is home to the Uk, where more than 2 million wild beasts, zebras and gazelles move in a circular route following the rains. During the journey, the herd merges into huge columns that can stretch for 40 kilometers. The park includes various areas: the Serengeti Valley with its acacia-dotted savanna, the western corridor where the Gunumati River is home to international crocodiles, and the northern borders that merge with the Kenyan Masai Mara. It is home to lions, which are unusually large prides, some of which find more than 30 individuals attracted by the abundance of prey. Unique geological formations called caps and Mnemba Island, a small tear of an untouched coral paradise on the northeast coast of Zanzibar. This private island has an area of only 12 kilometers in circumference, but is surrounded by an oval reef system extending for 4 kilometers. The coral reef is one of the most impressive sound diving spots, with over 600 species of fish dancing in the crystal clear waters. Green sea turtles nest on its snow-white houses from February to September, laying eggs in soft sand. The water islands also exhibit bottlenose dolphin breeding, which can often be seen ashore. The surrounding reef, known as Mnemba Atoll, forms a protected marine conservation area. Local fishermen still practice traditional fishing methods here, using wooden dhows and fishing rods. The island itself is bordered by an unspoilt beach that changes with the tides, and in its interior there is an ancient coral forest. This rare ecosystem includes trees adapted for growing on petrified coral. Dar es Salaam, Tanzania's largest city, sprawled along the calm waters of the Indian Ocean, a metropolis where skyscrapers tower over historic German colonial buildings. The name means haven of peace in Arabic, denoting its status as a quiet fishing village before becoming a respected port in East Africa. In the center of the city is the iconic Askari statue, a bronze statue commemorating African soldiers who fought in the First World War. Next to it, the Gothic Cathedral of St. Joseph towers over the cautious streets. The Kikuku Market, located in Germany, is the commercial center of the city, where merchants trade with everything from spices to textiles. On the waterfront of the fish market, Kukan lives at dawn when the wooden houses arrive in their elegant catch. The architecture of the city tells its story. Swahili-style houses in Kivukoni, Indian temples in Upang, and modern glass towers in Oyster Bay. The Tinga art movement originated here, characterized by vibrant paintings that now symbolize Tanzanian art worldwide. Materuni Waterfall, the hidden cascade, located at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro, falls 80 meters into the Emerald Pool. The waterfall is located on the territory of the Chaga people, who have been cultivating these fertile volcanic slopes for centuries. The path to Natron passes through coffee plantations, where bright red coffee berries show under the shade of banana trees. Local farmers still provide traditional coffee processing methods, a practice that has been applied from generation to generation. The flow of the waterfall varies greatly depending on the time of the year. During the rainy season, it booms with impressive force, and in the dry season it turns into a thin silver ribbon. The pool at the foot is deep enough for swimming, and its waters are constantly cool from traveling down the slopes of Kilimanjaro. The surrounding forest is home to various birds and small primate, especially the black and white colobus. The microclimate created by the falling water nourishes the ferns and orchids that thrive here. Lake Natron, a crimson gemstone on Tanzania's northern border, stretches across an ancient volcanic landscape. The amazing blood-red color of the lake is formed by microscopic sea waves that thrive in its extremely alkaline waters, where the pH level can reach 10.5. The temperature in the lake can reach 60 C, making it one of the most hostile habitats on Earth. The unique chemical composition of the water was formed by volcanic ash, rich in sodium carbonate and other minerals. This suggests a factory for the production of natron, a compound used by the ancient Egyptians for mummification. Despite these extreme conditions, the lake is a breeding ground for small flamingos, where up to 2 million birds congregate. They feed on spirulina, the algae that gives the lake its color. And their drawings create one of the most impressive wildlife spectacles. The lake is surrounded by the active volcano Old Doinyo Langai, whose ash continues to affect the chemical composition of the water. Stone Town, a living museum of cultural synthesis on the west coast of Zanzibar. Over the centuries, this UNESCO World Heritage Site has hosted meetings of African, Arab, Persian, Indian, and European influences. Its labyrinthine alleys feature massive wooden doors carved with intricate patterns that once symbolized the wealth and status of the owner. The architecture tells the story of the past: coral stone buildings with characteristic carved balconies, former palaces of sultans, and old merchant houses. The House of Wonders, or Beit El Ajaib, is the tallest building, featuring several levels of columned balconies. It was the first building in Zanzibar to have electricity and an elevator. The old fort, built by Omani Arabs in the 17th century, reveals layers of history as a defensive structure against constant invasion, and later as a prison. Ngorongoro crater, the world's largest intact volcanic caldera, formed 3 million years ago when a huge volcano exploded and collapsed on itself. This natural amphitheater stretches 20 kilometers across and extends 600 meters in a direction, creating a developed ecosystem that is often referred to as the Garden of Eden in Africa. The bottom briefly includes various habitats: meadows, swamps, forests, and Lake Modi, a shallow soda lake that is becoming the former pink of thousands of flamingos. This variety of supports amounts to about 25 large animals, created with a very high density of wildlife in the dialect. Unlike the Serengeti, most of the animals live here permanently, including one of the last populations of black rhinos in Tanzania. Walls briefly outline a barrier that protects wildlife, although some species such as elephants and giraffes seasonally traverse this steep slope. The Maasai people still graze their cattle alongside wild animals, preserving traditions that predate the status of a smaller protected area. What makes Ngorongoro at its current level is its collection of predators, lions, leopards, and hyenas, living in direct proximity to each other due to limited space. Zanzibar, a tropical archipelago saturated with the countries of the coast of Tanzania, where African, Arab, Indian, and European countries have been moving for over a millennium. The main island of Unguja was once the world's largest producer of clothes, which earned it the name Spice Island. Ancient navigators used its characteristic fragrance to navigate several miles away. The heart of the island is in its special plantations, where cinnamon, nutmeg, and cardamom lie on the same soil that made the sultans rich a long time ago. The waters surrounding Zanzibar are home to vibrant coral gardens, especially on the Mnemba Islands, which support over 500 marine species. The architecture of the windows reveals its past. Persian baths stand next to Indian merchant mansions, and carved Zanzibar doors combine African, Arabic, and Indian motifs. The Yozani forest in the center of the island towers over the red colobus, which is found nowhere else on Earth. Ancient trade routes are still in use today, and their triangular sails are a testament to maritime traditions that predate traditional exploration. Tanga City, an ancient port city where history flows through centuries-old streets along the northern coast of Tanzania. The name Tanga comes from the word sail in many Bantu countries, reflecting its maritime heritage as a vital trading center. The architecture of the city tells the stories of different colonial periods. German buildings stand next to British administrative buildings, and traditional Swahili houses line the ancient districts. Tanga Harbor, thus protected by Tanga Cape, has made this city a necessary condition in the spice trade. Amboni Caves, located near the city, provide a special limestone cave complex in the eastern slope, carved by ancient ocean waters. These caves contain archaeological evidence of human habitation dating back thousands of years, and they remain significant in the local spiritual tradition. The city is surrounded by sisal plantations, a legacy of the German colonial era, when Tanga became the world's largest exporter of sisal. Ancient fish markets still operate along the coast. As before, traditional dhows bring their daily catch. Tarangire National Park, a wilderness dominated by ancient baobabs, some of which are more than 1,000 years old. Their massive trunks stand like giant sentinels on the surrounding landscape. The lifeblood of the park is the Tarangire River, which flows north through the park and leaves the water when the surrounding areas dry up. During the dry season, from June to October, this constant source of water leads to one of the largest concentrations of wildlife in the world. The park is home to a large audience of elephants in Tanzania, with up to 300 people herding along the river. Unique to Tarangire are tree-climbing pythons that wrap themselves around the branches of sausage trees and acacias. The landscape is dotted with termite mounds, some of which measure 4 meters high, to create natural viewing platforms for small predators such as mongooses. The swamp parks, painted green all year round, include more than 550 species of birds, including the lowest flying bird in the dialect, the African ostrich. The meadows between the ancient baobabs are transformed depending on the season, lush and green during rains, golden and parched during droughts. Kendwa Beach, a pristine stretch of white coral sand along the northern coast of Zanzibar. Due to the dramatic tidal fluctuations that are observed on other beaches of the islands, the water here remains constant throughout the day, creating ideal conditions for swimming in the turquoise waters of the Indian Ocean. Unlike the beaches of the East Coast, Kendwa faces west, while enjoying spectacular sunsets as they sail towards the golden light of the horizon. The unique orientation of the beach also provides it with strong winds that blow on the eastern shores of Zanzibar during the Kuzi monsoon season. Under the water, just a few meters from the shore, coral gardens begin, where colorful parrotfish and starfish live. Local fishermen still practice traditional methods, going to sea at dawn on a wooden day, the design of which practically does not change. The soft sand is actually made up of tiny coral fragments crushed by thousands of ocean waves. At night, the water often sparkles with bioluminescent plankton, creating natural light shows in the gentle waves. Moshi and Kilimanjaro, the living gateway city, is located at the foot of Africa's highest peak, where the snowy peak of Kilimanjaro rises 895 meters above sea level. The streets of Moshi are bustling with mountain guides, coffee merchants, and farmers who make their coffee shop the capital of Tanzania. The mountain itself actually consists of 3 extinct volcanoes, Kibo, Mavenzi, and Shira. Kibo is home to the famous Ice Peak, although its glaciers have shrunk by more than 80 over the last century. The mountain creates its own weather system, ensuring compliance with the diet and feeding the surrounding rainforests. As a result, 5 different ecological zones are formed, from the rainforest at the foot to the moorlands and the alpine desert, and then the Arctic peak. Coffee plantations open up fertile volcanic territories around Moshi, where coffee beans are located in the shadow of mountains at an ideal height. The local Chaga people have lived on these slopes for centuries, developing a complex network of irrigation canals. In bright sunrises, the peak of Kilimanjaro reflects the rising sun, creating a phenomenon known as the King of Africa. Despite the fact that the mountain is located near the equator, its peak is covered with snow all year round, although climate change threatens this eternal ice sheet. Manyara, an ecological gemstone where underground forests meet the alkaline shores of a lake such as Lake Manyara. Lake Manyara stretches along the foot of the western slope of the Great Rift Valley, where a developed ecosystem has been created where land and water meet. The park is known for its tree-climbing lions, which have developed this unusual behavior, perhaps to escape the heat or inspect their territory from above. The underground forest supports consist of the highest densities of elephants per square kilometer in the direction, and flocks of olive baboons, sometimes numbering in numbers, feed along the edges of the forest. The lake itself can cover an area of up to 200 square kilometers during the rainy season, but it expands significantly during the dry season, turning into a mirror salt situation. Huge flocks of flamingos pass through here, creating pink ribbons along the coastline, filtering microscopic waters from alkaline water. The forest canopy is home to the highest density of tobacco, so their distinctive cries echo through the trees. Hot springs attesting to the volcanic past of this region gurgle at the southern end of the lake. Arusha, the bustling gateway city, located in the shadow of Mount Meru, at the 5th highest peak in Africa, is known as the safari capital of Tanzania. Arusha is located exactly halfway between Cairo and Cape Town on the old road from Cape Town to Cairo. The city's location near major national parks made it the headquarters of the East African Community, and it was once home to the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. The Maasai Market, the diverse culture of Tanzania, where colorful fabrics and intricate beads tell the stories of different tribes. The city's clock tower was once considered the middle of the road between the Cape of Good Hope and Cairo, although modern measurements dispute this. The Museum of Natural History of Tanzania contains preserved fragments documenting the discoveries of the first human ancestors in the Olduvai Gorge. The surrounding area is home to low-level cultivated plantations, where Arabia thrives on rich volcanic soils at the foot of Mount Meru. Nungwi Beach, a lively fishing village turned into a beach paradise on the northern cape of Zanzibar, where two streams arise, creating constantly soothing turquoise waters. The unique location of the beach on the island's promontory means that it is virtually unaffected by the dramatic tides of Zanzibar, making the ocean accessible for swimming throughout the day. Traditional shipbuilding is still practiced here, where experienced craftsmen use ancient techniques to build wooden ships without drawings or power tools. The Manani Sea Skull Stabilization Center is located just behind the beach, where injured sea skulls recover before being released back into the ocean. At sunset, white sails help when fishing days return home. Coral reefs are located near the coast, creating natural aquariums where parrotfish and angelfish flicker in the crystal waters. Local women are still growing vodka in shallow water at low tide, maintaining a tradition that is already useful. Morogoro, a tranquil city located at the foot of Mount Uluguru. The peaks rise sharply, forming one of the most impressive natural backdrops in Tanzania. The name of this mountain comes from the Luru people, who cultivated the slopes all over the world using sophisticated terraced methods. The city is the agricultural heart of Tanzania, where extensive sisal plantations stretch within the borders bordering the borders. Morogoro's agricultural research centers have made it a center for growing drought-resistant crops. The Uluguru Reserve contains rare species such as the luru, a bush shrike that is found nowhere else in the world. The old Central Railway, built during the German colonial era, passes through this city, and its station still stands as a reminder of the region's commercial history. Local problems hinder the production of mining farms, where traditional irrigation systems, determined by available resources, are still functioning. Soin University of Agriculture, one of the leading agricultural institutes in East Africa, promotes innovation and agricultural management practices. Now that we've explored the incredible treasures of Tanzania, from the last peaks of Mount Kilimanjaro to the cultural wealth of the Maasai people, it's up to you to decide which of these amazing adventures you dive into first. If the wonders of Tanzania have inspired you, don't forget to subscribe to see more adventures from around the world.